After going to this website, you click on the download link over here and just download the Java client libraries from this download link. Right? When you click on this link, you will get the latest version 2.25. It will be downloaded at one of your drives, whatever is the download location in your machine. Fine. Now, I have the version 2.24 with me. Anyways, it just does not make a difference to learn it. Fine. When you download, you will get these two jar files: Selenium Java 2.24.jar and srcs.jar. And inside the lib folder, okay, you will see many other jar files as well. So there are two locations. One jar files are in lib location, other ones are these two. Okay, I'll just repeat. You just have to go to seleniumhq.org, this particular URL. I'll give this URL over WebEx to everybody. Fine. And just go to this download link, and once you download it, you get a zip file which you extract, and when you extract, you get these jar files. This one, and under it you will find two jars over here and many jars under the lib folder. Okay, now you have to import these jars inside Eclipse. For doing that, you need to go to your project, right click on the project and go to the properties of the project. Again, you go to the properties, go to Java build path. Okay, under Java build path you have the library section, right? Don't get confused, I'm recording the session. You can look at the recorded session as well, right, to follow these steps, right? And this is the GRE system library over here. Okay, this is Java which is installed in your system, and then you click on the icon over here, add external jars. Fine. You click on this button and add the jar files for Selenium which you have downloaded. Make sure that you add these two jar files. Now sometimes people just add these two jar files and they forget. Right? They face issues with Selenium. Selenium never works on the systems. You have to add the other jar files in the lib directory as well, out here. So you add all the jar files and you will see a reference library section coming up over here. In this you will have the jar files of Selenium. Now every jar file will have lot of class files, and you can use all these class files to in your Java coding and work with Java along with Selenium. So you need to have understanding of what is there in the jar files. To understand that, you need to learn the object-oriented concepts of Java, and that's what I'm going to teach you right now. I'm not going to jump inside what all is there in the jar file directly. So just hold on for half an hour or so. I'll come back to this concept of jar file and all, and then I'll tell you. But first, let me take object-oriented programming concepts. Another thing, many people have told me that I'm not able to install Selenium on my machine, or how do you install Selenium? There is nothing known as installing Selenium Webdriver or Selenium RC. It is a set of libraries, it's a set of jar files, that's it. Nothing else. Once you download it, you configure it, that's it. It's not like a tool like Qtp or Test to get an exe file and install it, no. Okay. Now, starting with the concepts of object-oriented programming. Fine. Say, I'll take a very, very simple example. Say I make a class, new class called car. Okay. This is a blank class with no main function in it. Right. Now I can define a property of the car class. I can define a property like string make, the make of that car. Okay. Fine. This is the car class and this is the property of car. Now I'll make one more class called as test car. Fine. And this car class will have this class will have the main function. Fine. Now in this class I am going to use the car class. You can use classes in between each other. You can use the car class in test car as well. How do you use it? I use it to create the object of the car class. So what do you mean by creating object? Okay, just get to know it. Basically what you do is you write over here a single line called new car. This will create the object in the memory. If I write it over here 2 times, new car, this is the syntax. It will create 2 objects in the memory. Okay, and each object will have the property called make. Fine. Make was the property in car class, right? Okay, but these 2 objects are just hanging. You cannot access them. To access the object, you need object reference. So you write like this: car C1 equals to new car, and car C2 equals to new car. So C1 and C2 are not the objects. Many people think that these are the objects. These are the object references out here. What happens is that C1, it will point towards this object, and C2 will point towards this object. Okay, fine. Now if I write over here, C1 dot make is equal to, say, a Mercedes, and C2 dot make equals to Audi. So what will happen is that internally in the memory, C1 will actually be the make will have the value Mercedes, and this will have the value Audi. Okay. Now similarly, I can make as many objects as I want. I can make C3 equals to new car, and I can write over here C3 dot make is BMW. So in the memory, one more object will be formed. C3 will point towards that particular object, and the value of make will be BMW. Okay, so C1, C2 and C3 will be the 3 object references out here. Now if I write over here system.out.println C1.make, C2.make and C3.make, if you run the code, you will actually realize it prints the corresponding value. So when you access the C1, the object through C1, it prints the make of C1, C2 and C3. I think it's quite simple. Fine. So basically if you observe, there is just one car class and there is just one variable in it. But in the memory, it's kind of virtualization happening. I am creating multiple objects of that car. I'm giving multiple values to it, right? So this is what it does, right? Does the class have some other default property? Yes, it has. If you write C3 dot, you will get all those default properties. We'll study about these default properties. You will not use them much, right? Not all of these properties will be used by you, but this is the car class. The car class properties will automatically come up. These are the default properties of the class. Fine. We will talk about them as well. Every class will have these default properties. Okay. Now suppose if I write system.out.println and I put a big star, and after this I write C2 equals to C3. Now here's where the difference lies, in the objects and in references. Okay. So Priya, I'll just answer your question. Just hold on. Right. Now if I write over here C2 equals to C3, what happens is that C2 will be removed from here. It will point to the object where C3 is pointing. Okay, so C2 and C3 will point to the same object, and if I again write over here, this will print the Merc, But C2 will now print BMW and C3 will also print BMW. They point towards the same object. If I run this, you will see that this is the output. Okay, fine. A question being asked was, or make is a property and other location. Yeah, those are the methods. Yes, yeah, those are the methods. Fine. Now, yeah, so just hold on, I'll carry on. Now, if one of the objects it changes, like if I write over here C2 dot make is Maruti. Fine. So what happens in the memory is that C2 is changing the object state. Okay. C2 is changing the object state from BMW to Maruti. Okay. And in case I write this again, then this will also print Maruti, but C3 will also print this. So the object changes for both the references. Concept looks simple, but practically when people try to implement it, they get confused. Right? This is the thing. They get confused because they think that the object and the object reference is same. No. If I write like this, car C4 equals to null, that means this object reference is not pointing towards any object. Or if I write over here new car, then that means that this particular class has got no, it is just an object. Okay, nobody can refer that object, nobody can pull any value. So object reference and an object are two different things. Okay, this is known as object reference. It can change from one object to another, and this is known as, this is actually the object in memory, and it will hold the properties of the class. Now suppose there is one more property in car class, say a function, public void. Now what this public is, just hold on, you get to know, and just accept it as it is right now. Public void start, and in this I write system.out.println starting car and the car name, make of the car. Right? So I am making a function. In this I am writing starting car and the corresponding make of the class. So what will happen is that in all the objects in the memory, this start function will be present. This start will go inside all the objects just like make. Fine. And if you go to test car, suppose I write over here C1 dot start, C2 dot start, and C3 dot, you'll get the function start. In the list of available functions, you will actually get the function start. Okay. When C1 calls the start function will print the make corresponding to C1, because the corresponding functions are a part of every object. So if you run this, in the very beginning I have printed it, so it prints over here starting car, then Audi, then BMW. Fine. And if you print it in the end over here, C1 dot start, C2 dot start, and it will print the corresponding object where C1, C2 and C3 are pointing. If you run this now, see it prints Maruti and Maruti, because C2 and C3 both are pointing towards the Maruti object. Fine. So I hope this thing is clear to you. Okay. Now let's go to Selenium and see. A question is asked, is the car class getting reference because it is in memory? Yeah, that's why it's in the memory. Everything is in the memory out here. Okay. And in Java, you really don't need to worry about memory management like you have to do in VB when you are working with C#, when you are working with VB in QTP. You have to manage the memory, you have to destroy the objects over there in QTP descriptive programming. Out here you don't have to, automatically the memory management takes place. If I write an object like this new car which has got no reference, it will automatically be destroyed in the memory. Okay. Now, no, we don't have that. The pointer concept like in C. C is not an object-oriented programming language. Question being asked is, do we have a pointer concept in Java like C? No. C is not an object-oriented programming language. Java is object. We have the object-oriented concepts over here. We create objects over here like this. Fine. Now, how are these object creation and all? How is it important in Selenium? How do we use it? So let's actually start with it, and I'll talk about the object creation in Selenium. So I'll just make a new class called opening browsers. Fine. Opening browsers.java. Now, if you look at the Selenium Webdriver documentation, now let's start going inside the Java docs. This is the Java doc. This is object-oriented documentation over here. Okay. Now, everything in Selenium is inbuilt. You don't have to make classes like I made the car class. No, you don't have to make a class over there to create the object. All the classes are inbuilt in the API. You just need to create the objects of the classes which are available in Selenium, and you need to work with them. Okay, fine. So how do we do that? Let's see. We go into the Java doc. Okay. Now you have a class called, say, Firefox driver out here. Okay. If you go to this Firefox driver class, you will see that this is actually a class which is used for implementing the test cases on Firefox. Okay. And this class, if I create the object of this class, say in my opening browser, what I'll write over here Firefox driver dr1 equals to new, or suppose if I just write like this, new Firefox driver. Okay, you'll get an error because this class has to be imported. This class is present somewhere in the jar files. Okay, so you move the mouse over the error, you will get the option import Firefox driver, provided you have the Selenium jar files included in Eclipse. Okay, now if you run this program, if you run opening browsers.java, if you run it as a Java application, what will happen is that a blank Firefox window will open up. Okay, fine. Blank Firefox window will open up. Right. Question is how to download Java. They are available online to download. They are available, but I prefer it online only. Like they are available for download as well. I prefer it because they keep on updating the versions. That's why I refer it. Right. Yeah, on your system to work with it, obviously Firefox browser should be present on the system. Okay. Prefer not to use Firefox 15 or 16. Use Firefox lesser than the 14th version. Okay. So you write over here new Firefox driver, and if you run this, a blank Firefox window opens up. Right. Now, if I write, okay, I'll tell you how to download it. Srinivas, I'll tell you. Okay, I'll tell everybody where to download. I have it with me. Fine. Chandrasekhar. Just a minute. Fine. Okay. So now if I write over here Firefox driver, I give a reference dr1 equals to new Firefox driver, I can actually work with that driver. If I write over here dr1 dot, okay, you will get all these functions which are available with Firefox driver. Okay. Now, what are these functions, what they do and all, we'll talk about them. For example, one of the functions is get. This get function is used to actually navigate to a particular URL. Suppose I navigate over here to http yahoo.com, right? And if you execute your code, your browser will open and it will actually go to a particular website, that is, it will go to yahoo.com. Fine. Now, okay, if you have to close it, you can use driver.quit. This will close your session. Right. Now this is about Firefox. What about IE and Chrome? Let's talk about Chrome. Okay. Now in Chrome, we have something known as Chrome driver. This is the internal class. You can create the object of this class. You can write over here Chrome driver dr2 equals to new Chrome driver. Okay, move your mouse over it, you import it again, and again if you write dr2 dot, you will get a function called get, and you navigate to a website, say again yahoo.com. So this time a Chrome should open and move to Yahoo. If you execute this code, then all the machines you will get an error. Error is actually known as an exception in Java, and the exception tells you the path to the driver executable must be set by the webdriver.chrome.driver system property. Okay, now here's the catch. For Chrome driver, these guys, they have given a server which you have to, a Chrome driver server you can say, right, which you have to download. I'll tell you, just go to Google and just type Selenium Chrome driver.exe. Okay, you get the first link over here, information about Chrome driver. If you go to this link, right, you have to click here. Just a minute. Yeah, you have to go to the download page. This is the URL basically where you have to download. You have to go, and I'll give you the URL on WebEx. Okay. Now these are the various zip files depending on your operating system and whether it's 64-bit, 32-bit. For Windows operating system, this is the latest file. Okay. You download the zip file. I'm downloading it. And you take it and you extract it. Once you extract this, in the folder you will find a file like this, chromedriver.exe. Okay, I'll take this file. No, this is not for Firefox. You don't need this. Firefox is a standalone thing. For Firefox you don't need this, but for Chrome driver you need. Don't run this exe. Nothing will be, you won't accomplish anything by running this exe. I'll just paste this exe here at a shorter path. Fine. And I will write in my code, before starting Chrome driver, you have to give the path of that exe. You have to write system is a class, dot set property. You have to set the property, this particular property which came up in there, webdriver.chrome.driver, and give the value. Give the value as the path to that exe, that is hdrive. Okay, in the hdrive, this is the exe file. Right? You set the system property and then work with Chrome driver. Now, if you Priya, just hold on, right? Watch the recorded session, you'll be able to do that. Okay. So now if you run this code, you will see the Chrome opening up, and I have given the wrong spelling of Yahoo. Hold on. Okay. Now if you run this, you will see this thing running on Chrome as well. Okay. Now if you look at this, some red thing, this is not an error. Okay. This is just an information what Chrome is doing. If you look at this line, Chrome also, unlike Firefox, Chrome also generates logs. If you go to your project, any version of Chrome, right? You know what? Behind this WebDriver, basically Google is there, and Google is also behind Chrome. So they make sure that WebDriver works fine on Chrome, and it works perfectly fine. Okay. So if you refresh this day one project, you will see a log file over here, Chrome driver.log coming up. This is a bit technical log. To understand this, you have to actually understand Selenium properly. And this tells you what happened at when Chrome was working. This gets automatically generated. Okay. And one more thing, always close Chrome. You write dr2.quit in the end. If you don't write this, what will happen is that if you go to your task manager, unnecessarily you will see Chrome driver.exe running, which you set in the path. So just make sure that you quit the browser in the end. Fine. Now what about IE? Well, that I am on a server operating system with me. I don't have IE with me. I am on IE6 right now. It's a Windows 2003 server operating system. Okay, but I can tell you what to do in IE. In case of IE, you have to again go to seleniumhq.org. Go to the Java documentation and go to the documentation of Internet Explorer driver. There is a driver called, this is the driver, Internet Explorer driver. So you create the object of that class. Import it. Now for IE you have to do two things. Firstly, the preferable thing is turn off protected mode. I'll talk about Safari in some time. Mode in some time. Sorry, mode in IE. Alright. Fine. Turn off the protected mode in IE. So what you need to do is that just have to, I'll tell you how to turn it off. Go to Google and type turn off protected mode. In IE8 or IE9 both are supported. Okay, you'll get the steps over here how to turn it off. It's quite easy. You just have to go to internet options and turn it off from there. Right. Secondly, similar to Chrome driver, you have to download IDriver.exe. Fine. So if you actually go here and type IDriver.exe Selenium, you'll get the link over here. The first link from code.google.com. Google has given everything out here. Okay, this is not the place. Right. Okay, you can go to seleniumhq.org. Anything, just hold on. Yeah, if you go to the download section, you get this IDriver. Okay, you can get the IDriver server for 64-bit Windows machine as well for 32-bit Windows machine. This is the link. I'll give it to everybody. And all you need to do is that you need to write over here before opening IE, similar to Chrome, you have to give system.setProperty WebDriver.IDriver, and out here you have to give the path to the IESC file, and this will work. This will certainly work. I am not working on writing it on my machine because I have IE6. This is practically a redundant browser. Right? So you can work with IE after this. You can write driver.get or whatever. Okay. So now what about Safari? Safari driver is there in Selenium, okay, but I am refraining myself from talking about it. Why? Because it's unstable. It's just got released, okay. This is still unstable. Many things, pop-up handling and all. A lot of stuff is not working on this right now. If you have to do simple clicks and all, it works, but a lot of things they don't work. If you still want to see how to work with Safari driver, you can check it out. Check this blog from a person. Safari driver. It's got so many issues still. Like, yeah, this is a good blog where they have given an example of Safari. Basically, to work with Safari driver, you need to register with Apple first as an Apple developer on their website, and then you can work with it. Okay, so right now I'm refraining myself because half the things will not work on this driver. Okay, now these are the 4 currently supported browsers. Now you can read that blog. That blog is very easy. You'll get to know. Now, once we are on a website, we need to do a lot of things. We need to click on links. We need to write an input box. We need to select values from drop list. We have to do testing. We have to compare actual and expected values and all. And we have to generate reports. So there is a lot of stuff to it. Okay. Now many people will be having these kinds of questions in their mind, that what if I have to generate HTML reports? What if I have to do other stuff with this tool? Well, basically I'll answer that question first. Well, before the class also people were asking me this. What happens is that now, Selenium as a tool, it's an open source tool. Okay. These will be your test cases in Selenium. Right. And you would want that these test cases, oh sorry, oh it's gone, hold on, just a minute. Right, these are the test cases in Selenium. Okay, and you want the test cases to execute in a particular order, one after another. Right, now this will be your Selenium in this particular circle, but along with that you want that your data should be read from Excel files. Along with that you want to generate some reports. Along with that you also might be requiring to do some logging. That is, suppose the scripts are running for 10 hours, right? You need to do what? You need to report what happened at every minute. For that we have logging. You might want that at a particular location on your disk. The screenshot of the error should be stored. Error screenshots, they should actually be stored. So Selenium will not do all these things like reading from Excel file reports, logging, screenshots and all, or even connecting to database. Java will connect to database. Right? Selenium will only be under this section over here, this round circle. Okay. So to collaborate between all these things, what we use is that we use a framework called as the TestNg or the JUnit framework. These are the testing framework. Or sometimes people also use Cucumber over here, or in UK Fitness and Cucumber are quite famous. Right. So these are known as the testing frameworks. You combine them with Selenium. What these frameworks do is they read the data from the Excel file. They correspondingly they call the test cases. They generate the report. They generate the logging. They tell where to store the screenshots. So all these things, the collaboration part is done by these frameworks. Selenium is only here in the circle out here. Okay. So as we proceed with the course, we will be studying about everything out here, right? So let's now go to the Java code file, and now what I'll do is I'll go into little bit depth of Selenium. Well, I'll start to go into the depth. Now after reaching a page, you need to click on a link